Oh, my biddies. It's gonna bother me if I see it all the time. It's just a quilt on my bed. I gotta put it on the bed. Um, how are you? Missed you guys. It's been so long. All 4 days. Yesterday I went to the dentist. Of course, my teeth are fine because they're always fine, but he wanted to take extra x-rays because I have a weird condition where one of my teeth didn't descend. So it's up here. And he's always nosy about it. So he had him take extra x-rays so he could look at it before he retired. He's so silly. That vampire is a silly man. Um, and I have to go back later this month because not for me, but because my husband has to have a crown replaced. So happy, happy, joy, joy to me. Oh, I feel shiny. I put moisturizer on because my face is feeling really dry lately, even though it's like 96% humidity outside. Anyway, boys are cute. We watched Lassie Come Home on Monday, and WB really liked it. BW fell asleep. I think he has what I have. Remember on Friday I said I was coming down with something? Well, I came down with something. Um, right now I don't have any congestion, and I don't think I think my decongestant is either wearing off or should wear off soon. But yesterday I went all day without a decongestant until I went to bed last night. I probably could have slept without it, but I didn't want to chance it. I didn't want to chance not being able to breathe. So I decided to just do the nasal decongestant stuff, the spray. That works like gangbusters. If you don't use the spray stuff, because it works like immediately. It doesn't have to kick in like a oral like Sudafed does. Takes me about half an hour to an hour for a Sudafed to kick in for me. That's like instantaneous. So that was good. I had a weird dream that my husband decided to send luggage to the airport before I packed. I'm not stressing about vacations at all. What else? Oh, so WB really liked Lassie Come Home, except for the dog fighting with the other dog. He did not like that. But otherwise, he was very attentive, watched the whole thing. It's our quiet time thing. We're watching children's movies from, well, 1940s right now. They're coming up. So we've watched several in the last few weeks, and it's something that they seem to enjoy. And they're getting culturized. So they'll know all the movies, and none of the other kids will. um, this weekend I went to my daughter's on Saturday when I wasn't, and I started not feeling good, real good while I was there. The morning always seemed okay-ish. I'm like, if it doesn't get worse than this, I'll be fine. And then Sunday it got worse, and I didn't do anything on Sunday. My husband even fed me, which he doesn't usually do. He does not usually make me food, but he made me soup. So all I had on Sunday was soup. I was hungry on Monday. What else? Oh, it's a good thing I had salami because that's all they wanted on Monday. So it's a good thing I bought a pound of salami. Those boys and their salami, I'm telling you. And BW goes, cut mine up. Oh, another cute thing. We were doing animal sounds. We had a little book that has like a zoo scene in it. So we're doing animal sounds, and I asked him what we always try to trick them. What does this say? What does that say? And then we'll throw in one like, what does a kangaroo say? The 4-year-old goes, boing, boing, boing. So I asked him what grandma said, and he said, I love you. So I'm glad he thinks that. That was nice. I was like, "Oh, he is such a sweet little kid." The other one's sweet when he wants to be, but that one's sweet all the time. The other one's more like me. Okay, I actually have a Sister Wives reality roundup for you. And the title of the episode, which I haven't been doing, I think I'm going to start doing the title of the title of this one was "You Are Toxic to Me," and I realize this is a couple weeks old, but Christmas, and they didn't stop for Christmas, so they should have. HBO did not stop for Christmas, and I think they should have. Well, HBO TLC. So, Cody is at a park in Cedar City, Utah, to apologize to Mary on his little apology tour. He says he's surprised that Mary's even meeting with him, and as long as he doesn't diss Jen, which is Mary's friend, he thinks he'll be okay. He says they haven't talked to her. He hasn't talked to her except through their lawyers for a while because he's toxic. He said they were in a good place after they moved and they were going to be kind to each other, and then her friends were trashing him. Well, she wasn't trashing you, it was her friends trashing you, and they're entitled to do that. Because that's what friends do. He told her to have her friends shut their mouths and berated her friends, and she took it personally. He called her up, and she took it personally. Of course she did, because you're being mean. Um, yeah, I mean, her friends have her back, and he never has. It says he couldn't manage the escalation. They couldn't manage the escalations in their fights during their marriage. So apparently they fought quite a bit. Jen tells Maddie that she's going, or Janelle tells Maddie, we went to, to South Carolina. Janelle tells Maddie that she's going to Salt Lake City to get her spiritual divorce, and Maddie thinks she's nuts. Maddie asks what they will do if they say no, and she says she'll have a crisis of faith, but she knows she did everything required of her. Cody claims he asked for releases and was told he couldn't do that. Yeah, I don't know what that's about, but that's interesting that they say you can't do it. But Mary did and got a successful on the same day. So we're back in Cedar City. Most of the episode was based in Cedar City with Mary and Cody. And let me tell you, honey, it is worth it. It is worth watching this one. Mary arrives for the argument. Oh, I mean, apology. He asks for to hug or shake, and she says she doesn't know because he ignored her at the Coyote Pass meeting, and he claims she didn't make contact, and she says she tried to. He asks her how life is, and she says good, and he asks him asks how he is, and he ignores her to ask for details on her. And she says she appreciates his curiosity, but they don't have that type of relationship anymore. In a talking head, Robin says his relationships with his other wives was private. Sure, right. And now it's not, so she doesn't need to be at the apologies because he'll tell her all about it later. But yeah, but you're only getting one side. And and this is a lie, because she's been at meetings when they were still married with the other wives. None of the other wives were at other wives' meetings, but she was several times. So don't even tell me that you don't need to know, because you know you need to know, and she should be there to see both sides. It's very curious. It's just very curious that she has this attitude all of a sudden. He tells Mary that she got her share of Coyote Pass and she should be happy. A, of all, don't tell people how they should feel. And B, of all, there was a lot more crap than Coyote Pass. That guy's a moron. He says he apologizes and wants her to have a very happy, wonderful life, and she says that she does. He claims he's glad, and then he starts to tell her how he feels, and she says she doesn't need him to feel anything about her life. Yeah. That's what the other two needed to do, was to tell him that he doesn't need to feel any such a way about their lives. He says he wants her to move on, and she says she has. He says her friends talking about him makes it seem like she hasn't. She stops him and says she doesn't. she stops him and he interrupts her and says he doesn't want to fight. And she tells him, then don't bring up my friends and what they say. She says she's going to tell him this and he says it'll just ruin it. I mean, what a weasel. He says he's going to have her say and he's not going to let him shut her up. Go Mary. This is what the other women needed to do. Instead of listening to him like he's some sort of sliced bread, I don't know. In the Talking Heads, Cody says his first mistake was that he didn't was ever saying that she didn't do anything wrong. No, your first mistake was saying that she wasn't going to call you out on your BS because the other two didn't. He claims he doesn't need it to win an argument or have validation, but he's triggered. Weirdo. No weirdo. Mary says if in a talking head that if that continues, she's going to walk away. Then we go to Salt Lake City with Christine, and her and David are building a guest suite in the basement, and she tells him she was a basement wife. The basement wife is the bottom of the sister wife totem pole, apparently. And she said Cody and Mary fought a lot, and she could hear everything, because she was living right below Mary's place. Jen says she thinks that she took her turn being basement wife, which she probably was right at the beginning because Mary did not like her. Probably partially because she divorced her brother. And Mary says it's a sad plural thing. Rama says if there's a hierarchy, it's because people weren't being cool. Is that punishment, Robin? I don't understand. Not being cool. Then we go back to Cody and Mary, and Cody says Mary says she wasn't going to be shut down anymore. It's ironic because everyone else says she's never been silenced. But she has been because we've all seen that. We've all seen her being shut down. She says he stops her or talks over her, and she's not having it anymore. She says when she's not treated well, her friends will defend her, as it should be. She has good friends. He apologizes for his feelings for her friends, and she says he's allowed his feelings, that she just doesn't want to hear about it. He tells her an apology is needed because of the toxicity, and she's asked if he's being toxic, apologizing for being toxic to her or just in general. And he says he's apologizing for being toxic to her or was toxic to her. And she says, thank you. Probably should have been the end of the conversation, if you ask me. He asks what she wants him to apologize for, and she explains that she didn't even know the meeting was about, and he doesn't have to apologize to her. He says he has nothing but goodwill, and she says she's not feeling that, but is not sure of what vibe she is getting. He's still saying that he has nothing but goodwill and is sorry and wants to let all that furniture float down the river, whatever that means. She replies, dude, I didn't even bring furniture with me. And then she says she's trying to be funny, and he chuckles and says he understands metaphorically. And she says, I'm hella hilarious. And that's just something you don't get about me or whatever. So whatever, it's unfortunate. Then he apologizes that he doesn't find her hilarious. I don't even think Cody gets humor anyway. You think he's one of those people that thinks he's funny, but no one else is. Of course, she tells him again that there's no need for an apology. She says the people that find her funny are in her world and they get her. She says for the beginning of the end, she is meant to be kind and feels that she has been kind. He says he's glad she feels that and apologizes again for not seeing that she was kind. Like, what the heck does that even mean, dude? Come on. She tells him he needs to stop throwing the apologize word around because the more he says it, the less sincere it sounds. Which is, I mean, true. The more he says things, the less sincere he sounds. It's silly. Apologizing for not seeing that she was kind is silly. He asks if it triggers her, and she says no, but it makes it sound like this is not a sincere conversation. And she's right. He sounds ridiculous. We know it's not sincere. He so much has said so before. He says he's been triggered in this situation for years now. He's trying to ignore the triggers and turn over a new leaf. How about the new leaf is you turn over is you listening and hearing, Cody. This is in a talking head. He admits he missed a step at the very beginning, and so he's just going to apologize for everything she complains about, even if he thinks he didn't do it. And that makes him, like she told you, that makes you sound sincere, so insincere. Then he apologizes for saying he didn't love her and how toxic he was during the breakup. All 10 years of it, Cody? All of it? Or just the end, very end? He apologizes for not being for her in Vegas and during her dark times when he wasn't there. And she says the dark times were because he wasn't there. And he then apologizes. She says he wants him to be able to say what he needs to say. She's not convinced how sincere it is, but is willing to see where it goes. Then he says he's not trying to get them back together. Why does he think he's all that in a bag of chips? And that these women are clamoring to rekindle something with him? It's so gross. Dude, you are not all that, and no one wants to be with you except Robin. And maybe some other weirdos that want to be polygamy. Yeah. Mary is like, oh, hell no, never. Not a quote. It's a paraphrase. And then she quotes our girl Taylor saying they are never, ever, ever getting back together. He clarifies that he doesn't want his nostalgia to be mistaken, and she assures him that it is not. Um, Her talking head, she is like, I'm very clear. Are you trying to convince yourself that you don't want me? She is kind of funny. She says his use of apologize seems forced and extreme, and she can't tell if sincere or not. He says he was triggered from the beginning, and she asks why, because I walked into your space. She says she's not a bad person, but she will stand by her boundaries regardless. And good for her. She should. She shouldn't let him treat her like this. He says he has nothing but goodwill again, and she says he'd like to have a conversation rather than sitting there and listening to him apologize, which is valid to me. He says it's impossible because they trigger each other. Could you try, Cody? Just once, could you try to have a conversation? Or do you have to have an argument? It's useless if you're going to apologize and not try and have a conversation. He wants it all one-sided, and it's not. And he should not get to control everything. She reiterates that she's not getting to say anything or ask questions, and he says she can. And she exclaims, you just said I can't. So what is it, Cody? He says he's not there to argue, and he doesn't want to go picking the luggage out of the river. It's down the river. All of this, our whole experience is. First of all, where does he come up with these metaphors? Talking to him seems like it would be a chore. And why are you there then? What's the purpose of this? Because if you're not willing to listen to Mary, it's just an exercise to make you feel better. Selfish, but what else do we expect from Cody Brown? He says he is willing to discuss things for the sake of closure, and she says she does not need closure. Mary also said in Talking Head that it's clear it's just for him and all about him. She sees him. She sees him. The others she don't, but she does. She says that what he needs is fine. If that's what he needs, it's fine, but he can't, he can have it. He says at one point, if a wife wanted to leave, he says at one point, he said, if a wife wanted to leave, he'd buy her a house down the street, let her live there for free, and pay child support just so he could have access to his kids. And she agrees that this is what he said. But now he has no access to his kids because of his own actions. He said he's now ashamed because the divorces, he forgot who he was. Yeah, you also forgot you had kids, dude. He still has no relationship with his OG kids. And it seems to me that if he's ashamed, he'd make amends with his kids and not the exes. Mary says it's disappointing that he's behaving in a way that's different than how he said he was going to be. Then we go over to Christine's, and she's saying that the goal in plural marriage is for everyone to be equal, and it doesn't always work out that way. Honestly, a good goal, but it seems like that would really happen in real life because it's just not normal, you know. It's not a normal thing to happen in real life. She said she felt like Mary was more in charge and being them being equal. And David asked whose fault that was, and she said it was everybody's fault. Equal ebbs and flows because life. That's true. I can see where you would be some away with someone at one point and then not at another point. Makes perfect sense to me. I thought about that too. So Christine says it was everyone's fault, and David says it's on the man. Because if one wife is claiming superiority, he should focus on equality. Christine says that Cody told her to do things like Mary did them because he liked the way she did them. And she says since Mary was the legal wife, she got to do more things with Cody. She's not blaming Mary and not really blaming Cody, but Cody let it happen without meaning to. So in a talking head, Mary says that Cody was not playing favorites before Robin came into the family and that he was definitely rotating between the wives right up to then. Back to Christine and David, she says the culture, the first wife gets a huge, massive wedding, and all the other wives' weddings are much smaller. And David agrees, saying that the weddings are like funerals and that it's weird. And she says that growing up, she knew she would have to marry a convert because she was related to everyone, and then admits that she did marry a convert, but she was related to him too. David is surprised as she reiterates that she is related to Cody. And I should have screenshot the family tree I saw someone do recently, and it disclosed that Mary, Christine, and Cody are all cousins. And also, don't forget that Janelle was Mary's sister-in-law before they were sister wives, because Janelle was married to Mary's brother. David says that's not cool. No, not first cousins. We'll get to that. I think it's in here. And I might repeat this, but at some point she said their third cousins once removed. Oh, there it is, right there. So David says that's not cool, and she explains that their third cousins once removed. A talking head with Janelle says that it wasn't unusual to be married to your cousin, and that was a running joke that you were marrying your cousin because the community was so small. David says it's normal for the first wife to be higher up than the other wives, and says it's seen in Mexico that it doesn't happen. And Christy says some families work fine, even if a wife has a basement, she's not a basement wife. Then we have a talking head with Cody, and that he says he never wanted a pecking order and never wanted one wife to be in charge of the other wife. He claims when they were in the same household, they started the pecking order. And that doesn't make any sense because he said when they were talking about building on Coyote Pass, he said all wanted them in the same house again because it worked better that way. So that doesn't make sense that there was a pecking order in the house when they were all in the house together before Robin got there. Because why would he want to go through that again? Why would he want that happen again? And we all know the problems really started when Robin joined the family. Not that there weren't problems before, but there wasn't a clear favorite before. He said he'd go to work and let the wives fight. Dude neglecting his wives just like he does his kids now. He never changes. He never changes. He never grows. So then we go back to Cedar City from the Talking Heads, and Mary says that she knows he thinks she and her friends are bitches. And he says it doesn't matter. And she says it matters to her, and is cut off by Cody, who has a unmitigated gall to say, my opinion of your friends and my opinion of you is none of your business. Like, what the actual wang is going on here? Like, if you have an opinion of me, that's definitely my business. If you have an opinion of my friends, that might be my business too, because it affects me. And anything that affects me is my business. He says he's not saying it to be rude. He's saying it because it matters that you do not care. And she agrees that she doesn't care. He says they have to let it go or they'll keep going tit for tat. She says she's let it go, but he needs to stop doing it. She says he needs to be the person he says he is and stop doing it. She said if it's not her business, he shouldn't be telling her. She has a point, I think. She says she has plenty of thoughts about him, and before she can finish, he cuts her off again, saying that he doesn't want to argue, and she says she's not arguing. And again, before she can finish her thought, he interrupts her. So, verifying that she says that he shuts her down and talks over her and doesn't let her finish what she's saying. He talks over her, saying that when I'm apologizing, you don't have an argument, and claims she's arguing. She denies she's arguing, and she says, "I'm wanting to say something and you shut me down. It's how it's been our whole lives." He says, "I don't want to pull that luggage back out of the water." Dude, that luggage has been sitting on your lap the whole time because you have not changed. She says he got to say things and he cuts her off again and says he apologized and that your apology is welcome if you want to give one. Like, the nerve of this guy. Like, where does he get off directing her conversation? This is so rude and unnecessary. She tells him that he should keep his opinions of her friends to himself if it's none of her business. He says to tell her friends to keep their opinion of him to themselves because they don't know him. The wang they don't. Jen's been around for 12 years. And she reminds him that they have been around for years. And she says, "Not with me, just with you." Gee, what does that say about you, Cody? You weren't there? Strange. Strange you were married and not there. In a talking head, he says he failed to remain benevolent. Um, I think he should have shut up and listened because he seems to have a hard time listening. He says he was busy gearing up for the next blow. So if you're gearing up for the next blow, you're not listening. You're not listening. Then we go to Salt Lake City with Janelle, and she's there to get her release from the church. She hasn't been associated with the church for 15 years, so this is so weird that she thinks she needs to do this when she's not even a member of this church. She plans on telling them that he's in love with Robin, wants to be only with her, and is estranged from their kids, all of which is completely and totally true. She's afraid it won't go as well for her as it did Mary because Mary and Cody had not had a real relationship for years, while her marriage only broke down relatively recently. Then we go back to Cedar City with Mary and Cody. Mary's telling Cody that they are never going to see eye to eye because even though they were in the same space, their experiences were vastly different. Mary said she wouldn't change the past because it made her who she is today, and she hopes he doesn't regret it either because of the kids, and he doesn't want to talk about the kids, and puts his hand on hers. Ooh, he touched her, bros. He says that's verboten. In case you don't know, verboten means forbidden, especially as by an authority. So he's using it wrong. But she doesn't know what it means anyway. So he tells her it's not allowed because it's a whole stream of bullshit and he doesn't want to talk about it. He claims he's working out his relationship with them. According to the children, he's not. He's not. Even Leon has come out and said he has not contacted me at all. So he's not. She says, of course, they're not the same people they were 30 years ago, but she expects him to be better, and she's not seen that from him. He says he wants her to feel this about her, but admits it's between me and God. And she says she can tell it's about him. It's always about him. He reiterates the God thing, and she says, sure, him too, but I can tell. Because it's all about him. He thanks her, and she accepts his thanks, agreeing that it was a fascinating experience. Obviously, I'm not telling you everything word for word. Mary in a talking head says she came to the realization that she was trying to understand him and she doesn't have to, and that she only has to understand herself, and she's good with that. Cody says some weird things in talking head about divorce and that his was different because he has a wife that stood by him while he was getting divorced. Well, lucky you, weirdo. So Cody has to pee, and Mary generously offers to a hug and thanks for the talk and apology. And Mary says she's not going to let anything he ever says affect her. And that is all for today. And I don't think I'm going to do another one this week, even though there's at least there's one or two more episodes. I think I'm going to do the rest of the season all at once. Because I'm not sure what next week's is for sure, but I think it's like for the first part of the tell-all, but they didn't even show the tell-alls in the previews. So I'm not positive, but I want to do the tell-alls all at once. So just in case that one's a tell-all, we're going to wait till the last episode. And apparently the tell-alls are really good too. So go Mary. She has redeemed herself a little bit in my eyes. But she's correct. He kept cutting her off like the whole time. And she said he's always done that. And I bet he's always done it to the other women too. They just either don't see it or don't want to admit it. I'm excited for the tell-all too, Lauren. Lauren baby is excited for the tell-all. Aren't we all excited for the tell-all? And apparently there's another season. I don't think Janelle's going to be in it because she's been talking on her Instagrams about how the cameras are gone and all and how different it is with the cameras gone and stuff like that. So I don't think she's going to be in the next season, but we shall see. We shall see. I don't know. But apparently there is going to be a next season. I don't know what that's going to entail. Um, Maybe the kids will be more involved. I doubt it though. I don't think they want to be, and I don't blame them. Who wants to be involved with Cody anyway? Maybe it'll be more about Cody and Robin and the tenders, as we call them. All right. I'm feeling better, by the way. A lot better today. For sure. I slept really good last night too. All right, I guess we'll go on to our Reddit reads. The Cody and Robin show, yeah. I mean, there's rumors that Robin might be ready to drop him too. That would be hilarious. That would be hysterical. I would love that if Robin dropped him too. I don't like Robin at all, but that would still be funny. All right. Excuse me. So we're gonna do a Reddit reads, and we're gonna start with entitled people. Entitled update to entitled sister demands new gift. Okay, so this is an update. See if we've read this one. Okay. It's been updated a couple times, and then there's another update. So the original is entitled sister opens Christmas gift early and then demands a new Christmas gift for family party. I should probably check and see. Well, yeah, I should probably check and see if this is coming up later so I can take it off. Oh, shoot. Why am I not getting what I need? Okay, good. It's not on our list. Okay, we're all good. Hooray! I told you I don't read these beforehand. So it says, my sister and her family live in another state across the country. Our family trades names so that we don't have to spend as much money since we're a big family. I got my sister's family and sent her a game that she has had on her wish list for several months, as well as some expansion packs. I went a bit above the family spending limit, but was feeling generous. Because she lives so far away, I had it shipped to her home. Apparently, her kids got too excited and she just couldn't make them wait. They were excited. I saw the game, which is great, and at least my sister said thank you. But the next day, she calls me to ask to get them another gift. No, I spend my money on you, dude. She's worried that when we do the family Zoom on Christmas Eve, her family will feel left out since they have no gift to open. Well, that's your own fault. I said I couldn't afford another gift. She started crying. Oh, God. And told me I should be the one to tell her kids they won't have a gift to open and all sorts of other manipulation tactics. I reminded her that I'm a teacher, no money, and have my own family to care for, and that she needs to be more responsible. Buy another gift and or teach her children to be patient. She hung up on me. Next time they get an e-gift card. I don't blame her. Next time they might get nothing. Update. I was telling my husband some of your suggestions, and now he wants to buy an advent calendar to help them understand what Christmas is. He says, don't worry, I'm not going to actually do it. And update number 2 is so apparently this was cross-posted to other subs. No, I do not wonder if I'm the a-hole, nor did I cross-post this for attention. Yes, I know the gift could be rewrapped. I'm not really concerned about whether her kids will have a gift to open. Yeah, nor should she be, as I can easily remind them of the game if they seem disappointed at the party. My sister is an entitled brat and was just trying to fishing for another gift. I feel no need to accommodate her. Good. I'm glad to hear that. Honestly, the more I think about it, the more I think she was the impatient one that wanted to open the gift and see if she could get another present from me. The kids are usually well behaved around more mature people who hold them accountable. So the top comment is she's the parent. It's her job to teach kids consequences. They open it early. That's on them. OP answers that makes it even worse that her kids are mostly tweens to older teenagers. It's not like they're toddlers and don't understand the concept of waiting. Yeah, your sister's weird. Somebody asked if she's always been special like that. And the OP says she can be very selfless and generous at times, but the entitlement has always been there in various forms. When we were teenagers, she had really long nails, so she would use them to scratch anyone who tried to serve themselves at dinner before her. So she'd get first pick or the biggest serving. Man, that is rude. Why didn't your parents stop her? You'd be leaving my table if you did that. I think Lauren baby can tell you that. You would be leaving the table. Or when she bravely said she'd have us hide because we were playing hide and seek, and then wouldn't look for us and would watch TV. In reality, she just didn't want to be bothered taking care of us. She says she was got away with it because she was the biggest one. But where were your parents? Where were your parents? Okay, so this is the update to entitled Sister Demands New Gift. I've had several messaging me for updates, so this is a new update. We had our family Christmas party yesterday, and I was actually surprised because my sister thanked me for sending a new gift. This didn't make sense to me because I didn't send anything new and it wouldn't have arrived on time if I did. But they opened the gift and it was an advent calendar with a note saying, "Next year you can count how many days before you open your gifts. Loves, Dad." Turns out my brother-in-law was mad at my sister and bought the advent calendar. That's great. Oh, where's my flags? Green flag for his brother-in-law. Oh, that's awesome. Good job. Good job, dude. He apologized to me for my sister's behavior right there on the Zoom call in front of everybody. My sister yelled at him how he just embarrassed her and ran off somewhere. Don't do stupid things and you won't get embarrassed when people call you out on your BS. Bonus to the story, my nieces and nephews thought the calendar was funny. And after everyone finished with presents, they spent the next 10 minutes planning their next visit so we can play Terraforming Mars together. Do not tread on me, says, haha, that was perfect, very satisfying. And OP says, it sure was. I love that he secretly bought the gift and pretended it was for me. And it was just a chef's kiss. He is my favorite. For sure. Bubblegum Doll says the advent calendar was a masterclass in peaceful petty. Dad and brother-in-law handled everything perfectly. Sassy said, or the OP says, Dad and brother-in-law the same person. He wrote a note to the kids a way of putting my sister in her place without calling attention to the fact that he knew it was her. My father passed away 7 years ago. She says that her and her brother-in-law and her husband talked at some point, but her husband didn't tell me they talked until earlier in the day when she was talking about posting an update. So hubby and brother-in-law got together and cooked up this plan to embarrass the sister-in-law. And honestly, she deserved it. Don't be doing dumb stuff. Don't act entitled. It's so rude. Excuse me. Next we have What Should I Do? And it's entitled, Can I Tell My Friends Not to Bring His Girlfriend Over to My House? I mean, it's kind of rude. I, 34 male, like hosting small parties at my new house. Nothing wild, just a few friends, some drinks, hanging out, playing games, and chilling. My house is also very much my space. There are a couple of rooms that are clearly off limits and I have a couple of expensive art pieces in my living room that I'm careful about. The last time I hosted, one of my friends bought his girlfriend. I haven't known her very long. At one point, she touched one of my paintings, even after I told her not to. Okay, that was not necessary, dude. It wasn't subtle or an accident. I told her a bit firmly not to touch my painting again. After that, she gave me really hostile looks the rest of the night. Didn't say anything to me or anyone else, just death stares. I'm not confrontational, so instead of calling her out in front of everyone, I pulled my friend aside and told him what happened. He apologized and seemed embarrassed, which I appreciated. That said, I really don't want her in my house again. She's never liked me and always changed the vibes of the house, and I don't feel comfortable having someone in my home who ignores basic boundaries, especially when I'm the one hosting and responsible for the space and the stuff in it. Would it be wrong to tell my friend that I don't want his girlfriend coming over anymore? I mean, I still think it's kind of rude to invite him and not her, but you couldn't not invite him. That would be acceptable because he's going to need to reel her in at some point, or he's going to have to break up with her because she's obviously not right. You should be encouraging it. You should say, "This is not acceptable behavior from your girlfriend. What are you going to do about it?" The top comment is, "I mean, your house, your rules." And the next one is just, and here we go. The next top comment is, "I wouldn't invite either of them. It's potentially Tinder than that causing conflict between them. But if you're close with him, you might discuss the situation with him." Yeah. Captain J says that's what the girl wants. Invite the friend. Hey, man, you're welcome anytime, but please don't bring Karen. No hard feelings, but if you prefer not to come. I totally get it, and I don't want to put you in an awkward position, but I also don't want you to feel unwelcome or excluded. Electrical Stage says, I don't agree that the girl was touching the artwork purposefully like that. It seems like she's just careless and self centered. No, she was purposefully touching it after she was told not to. But on your advice is to say to the friend is spot on. I have no idea why people keep saying this. I've said to friends and had others at times say to me, and it's acceptable. Do you run the risk of offending your friend? Sure, but ghosting him would be worse. Yes, you shouldn't ghost him, but you should explain to him why he's not being invited, and not invite him. Say, hey, I know that you're going to hear. Sorry, I just clicked on the next one. It's deleted again. Um, but what was I saying? You should explain to your friend why he's being excluded. It's not because of him, it's because of who he's dating. And if he chooses to keep dating her, he's going to keep being excluded because she is not a person you want to be around or anybody else. Malicious compliance got deleted, and I didn't catch that one. I caught a couple of them. Um, okay, I got another one though. Delete in there. All right. So this is from Malicious Compliance, and it's entitled A Heavy Compliance. Almost 2 decades ago, I took some years away from my certified profession of electric stuff to operate heavy machinery at an industrial site. Wheel loaders and excavators, to be precise. Fun stuff. You get paid good money to play around with big yellow toys. And what man doesn't want to do that? One of the tasks was loading building rubble onto trucks, concrete bits, dirt, bricks, heavy and dense stuff. I don't remember the exact numbers, but I think we put around 14 tons net weight on the truck and 20 on the trailer, it being lighter. I handled many trucks in a shift, and all the drivers were nice folks, with the exception, hence the story. The loader I was driving was a Volvo L110, lifting capacity 11 tons, including the bucket, which is around 2 tons, so 9 tons left for materials if full. And the usual load was 2, not quite full scoops on the truck and 3 on the trailer, or thereabouts. Enter our antagonist, the truck driver. Drives up along the ramp and walks up to me. I open the cabin door and ask how much to load, and he says 4 on the truck and 5 on the trailer. Me, isn't that a bit much? We usually do 2 and 3. He snaps at, I said, 4 on the truck and 5 on the trailer. Closing the door, I thought, who am I to tell you what's good for you and your truck? You clearly know best. Demand and you shall receive. So I drove around the site to get to the rubble pile. Instead of gently lifting the bucket as usual, I drove it into the pile as far as I could while tipping up to really fill it, and then tipping back and shaking it to pack the stuff, and proceeded to repeat this the second time. Rated lifting capacity was 11 tons. What the loader would actually lift was a different matter. I had at least 11 tons of material alone. The machine barely had any weight on the rear wheels. After gingerly driving back to keep the rear wheels on the ground and tipping into the truck, I repeated the process at least twice more. I can't remember how many shovels I got into the car and trailer before the driver was back, red in the face, practically screaming. Details of that conversation have been lost in time, but I do know he had to drive around the site and dump all of it off before I loaded him again with less material. Like, why would you tell him to overload your truck and then get mad about it? Silly man. Silly, silly man. Wake me up is the top comment, and he says, I once watched a guy at one of the big box stores berate an employee for not using the forklift to load paving stones onto his pickup truck bed. Decided to stick around because I knew it was going to be interesting. Demanded a supervisor who said the same thing. Load was too heavy for the truck. He insisted they had him sign paperwork verifying that this was his decision to have this done. Forklift lowered a pallet of pavers onto the truck bed, and the shock and horror on the truck guy's face was so worth sticking around to see. Grim Grimkey Tal says, you'd think having you sign a waiver would be a big red flag that you should rethink things a bit, but no. Why would you do that? Brainwave says, sadly, it's only known by the people who have listened without the waiver. The waiver is not an effective deterrent. It's only good as CYA. Yeah, they had him. They knew he wasn't going to rethink it, and they needed to cover themselves. Chaos Music says, when the universe asks, are you sure? Think carefully before answering. That one, okay. Next, we have AITAH. AITAH for refusing to help my parents care for my son who they adopted. I am an oops baby. My folks had me when they were in their early 40s. I got pregnant when I was in university. I probably can't right here why I didn't want it. I wanted not to be pregnant, but my parents said they would cut off all aid to me if I did that. Well, that's sad. Being forced to be pregnant. It should never happen. So I carried it to term. They wanted to put the child up for adoption or drop him at a fire station or something. I was not in a good place, understandably so. My parents had insisted on adopting him, so he's legally my brother. I do not hate him, but he is a reminder of something terrible that happened to me. Understandable. I now go back home as little as possible, maybe 2 days a year. I have graduated and have life far away from my parents. My brother is 12 now, and he is not well behaved because your parents are old and they can't make it, and they don't have the energy to raise a kid. I understand that. I don't have the energy to raise kids again. I'm early 60s. My parents are now in their 70s. They're having a crappy retirement. They have to dedicate all their time to him. They can't take the vacations they planned. They won't downsize to a condo, so they have a yard work and stuff that he will not help with. None of my actual siblings want to watch him and give them a break. They reached out to me and I said no, that he is their son and their responsibility. This is perfectly reasonable in this situation. She did not want this kid. She did not want this kid, and she should have had the abortion that she wanted because no one should have to go through a pregnancy if they don't want to. They think I'm being cruel for forcing them to do everything after they helped me so much. It took everything I had in me not to curse them out. Some of my relatives have reached out to me to see why I refuse to help fix the mess I made. Oh my goodness. No, she did not. She did not create this mess. The parents did. The parents created the mess. The parents You take responsibility for it. I curse them out and block. None of them have helped me when I was pregnant against my will. The biological father is on the registry and cannot be near kids before you ask. Oh my. Oh my. HB Mart says so. They adopted him thinking you'd come around and eventually be the mother. Professional Yam says, I think there's a good likelihood of this. Yeah, that's probably what happened. Like, oh, we'll take him for a while, and then, when she's in a better place, she'll take him back. No, she didn't want him. She didn't want him, and she shouldn't have had to have him. And they shouldn't have adopted him. They should have let somebody else do that. May Flower says, well, they waned up, and now they have to live with the consequences they helped create. When OP constantly during and after pregnancy said that she wanted nothing to do with the kid ever due to terrible bio-related and circumstances. OP wanted nothing to do with, excuse me, the POS that hurt, and they made her give birth to the POS's child. And they legally adopted him when she wanted to adopt him elsewhere away from her. Thus, that is their POS child, and they both raised their own hands, not OP's. Exactly. Talk to Me says, and we don't know how they treated the child. With the lack of empathy they had for their daughter, I'd imagine they may have made that child's life a hell. They certainly weren't good parents. Doubt they would be any better with the grandson slash son, because he's both the grandson and the son. And somebody answered that too. A child did nothing wrong. Her parents and rapist are the POSs, not the child. Anyone who calls a child POS is actually a huge piece of crap. Well, the kid's obviously one now. He's 12 years old and he's not doing anything that he's supposed to be doing. So, Sad Flatworm says, NTA, but I'd change my tactic when the hassle comes. I'd have typed out a response ready to cut and paste in. Remind everyone that you did not want this pregnancy forced on you. You did not want to keep the child. Forced for a third time, you will not be forced to do anything. Your parents made a choice and they have to live with the consequences, just like they made you live with the consequences of their forced choices. Cursing and blocking doesn't get your side of the story out, and people conveniently forget what happened back 12 years ago. Ask Garden says, 1, this pre-planned response. 2, also next time they reach out, let them know they've just volunteered to help out. Yeah. You want me to do it? You can do it. Your family too. 3, keep track of who pressures you and tell your parents who's interested in helping out next time they ask you. Yeah, lots of good advice there. But yeah, she should not have been forced to have a baby. Simple, simple, simple solution to the problem that they completely ignored and threatened her. I do not understand some people. Next, thank goodness, is Benign Existence, entitled My Husband Heard Me Singing. As I bet a lot of other pet owners do, I make small songs and jingles about my cat to my cat as we go around about our day. I'm on maternity leave, so I spend most days at home. Last night, I absent-mindedly sang the most common jingle aloud to the cat, and while my husband was in the room, he almost fell down laughing. Turns out he's never heard me doing it before. Then he couldn't get it out of his head and kept singing the rest of the night. We both laughed until we both cried at one point. He's still singing it this morning. Oh, that's cute. Also, congratulations. And now you have baby to sing to. You can make up jingles with that one. Ooh, and now we have Evil Buildings, which we will share. Oops. So this is a TV tower in Vilnius, Lithuania. Vilnius is a good place for an evil tower. I don't know if it's the tower itself or the color that makes it look kind of evilish. but that color is not good. Not doing it any favors. Why would you do that? I don't understand the green. I don't understand it. It is look evil looking in the middle of the night. You won't want to come up on that. In 2026, you will be deceived. Oh, sorry, that's an ad. The nine have left Minas Morgul. It reminds me of the Emerald City sequence from The Wiz, only no disco dancers. Yeah, it definitely belongs in the land of Oz. Now we have another update. I'm gonna have to go find the original. Oh my. Oh, that's not what I wanted. Oh, it's something different. There are several updates. Like several updates. It's better. Okay. Let me make sure that we don't have that later too. Okay, that's not on here. Okay. Excellent. Okay. So this is the original, and it's entitled Pregnant and Already Dealing with an Overbearing Mother-in-Law. Terrified she'll repeat past behavior at the hospital. Hi, everyone. English is not my first language. I use AI for translation. I'm currently pregnant. Ever since we told my mother-in-law, she has been extremely overbearing. She keeps bombarding me with baby name suggestions, even though we don't even know the gender yet. Insists we should move in with her. No, no. And assumes she will be babysitting regularly. Even though she's clearly too old for that, I plan to stay home with the baby first. Why do you assume that she's too old for that? You don't tell us how old she is. So far, my significant other has been doing a good job shutting her down. However, he recently told me something that made me extremely anxious. When mother in law's first two grandchildren were born from her oldest son, she apparently both times terrorized the entire family until she was allowed to see the newborns on the very first day in the hospital. Her husband at the time, and my significant other, and my brother in law all tried desperately to stop her. Mother in law reportedly stormed into the maternity ward, caused such a scene, and harassed staff and family until they let her into the room. My poor sister in law was so exhausted after labor that she couldn't defend herself. Okay, this is when you do proactively tell staff at the hospital that she is not allowed in the room, not allowed in the hospital with you at all. And they will take care of it. They have security. Mother-in-law's my significant other tried to reassure me and tell me I shouldn't be worried. His plan, according to him, would be able to handle it by picking his mother up, bringing her to the hospital, letting her look at the baby for 30 minutes, tell us how pretty it is, and then take her home. No, this sounds like a bad idea. He believes if she gets this out of her system, she'll be satisfied and leave us alone for the first 3 weeks. Doubtful. He said he's learned nothing else works and it's best to get it over with as quickly as possible. I absolutely lost it. I told him very clearly that if he leaves me in the home alone with our newborn to chauffeur his mom around so she can get her way, I will not let him back into the hospital room. I will inform hospital staff that neither he nor his mother are allowed to access. I will spend my entire postpartum recovery with my parents so I can have peace and quiet. I think he understood how serious I am and that he respects my boundaries, but at the same time, he keeps saying his mother will become a furious monster if she doesn't want to get what she wants. So let her. Let her become the furious monster. It won't do her any good. It'll only harm her. I'm honestly scared that he'll cave under the pressure when the time comes. So my question is, what can I do to protect myself and my baby? How do I make sure my boundaries are respected during birth and postpartum, especially with mother-in-law's past behavior? You tell the hospital staff that your mother-in-law is not allowed in the room. That's all you have to do. Tija Costa says, also, you can let the hospital staff know when you register that you are not accepting visitors. Nurses are usually happy to be the bad guy with overbearing family members and, if necessary, security. Frankly Energized says, don't tell her which hospital you're be delivering at. Um, that doesn't always work because there are certain places where there is only access to one hospital. I don't have that where I live, but there are places where everybody has to go to the same hospital, have a kid. So that may not work. He also suggests getting your parents involved. And probably not telling her when it's some people are telling don't tell her when you're due, but she might have already done that. Okay, so here's the update. There we go. Hi, everybody. I wanted to post an update after another serious conversation with my significant other. English is not my first language, so I use AI for translation. After my last post, I asked my significant other to explain in more detail what actually happened when his nieces were born. What I learned honestly shocked me and it's so much worse than I originally believed. During the first birth, my significant other, his brother, the father, and another brother, my mother in law and father in law were all waiting at the hospital. According to my significant other, the moment the baby was born, mother in law stormed straight into the living room and the rest of the family followed her in. How rude. At least my people waited a day. You should wait till at least the next day, unless you're invited sooner. I have been invited sooner to my daughter in law's, but I would never have stormed in like I belonged there without her permission. I was horrified. My soul initially tried to normalize it by saying this is how it is for us. We're Italian. I don't think that's an excuse. He saw my reaction. He quickly added that he only followed it because he was trying to stop her. No, he wasn't. For context, my soul is a doctor and has been present at many births. He later admitted that the births he attended professionally were far calmer and more respectful. I replied, yes, probably because the mothers weren't being stressed like that. He then said that it wasn't that bad for my sister-in-law. Yeah, it clearly was. He claimed the second birth was very fast and the baby was already born by the time they reached the hospital, and that mother-in-law is deeply offended because she missed everything. Why do you want to be in the room with your daughter-in-law during her birth? I find that weird. Unless I am expressly, like begged to be in the room with my daughter-in-law, I would never ask. That is something that is entirely up to her. And frankly, I don't feel I need to be there. And even with my own daughter, unless she asks me, I won't be there. If she ever has a kid, which may or may not happen. When I suggested that sister-in-law probably learned from the first experience and simply didn't tell anyone she was in labor the second time. So my soul went completely pale. It was now clear that this thought had never occurred to him before. I don't think he ever questioned this behavior until now. I lost my patience and told him very clearly that this was not normal, that the entire situation was deeply unhealthy, and that I would never forgive him if something like this happened to me. If he allowed his family to invade my delivery room like that, I would be permanently damage our relationship. New development with Mill. Yesterday, my soul went to see Mill alone. At my request, he spoke to her about expectations that we should move in with her and that she would be taking care of the baby, so I could immediately return to work. She had already started with the idea that we could live in her house and that she only needs one room for herself. My soul firmly told her that we were moving into a house in January and that we have rented for 5 years and that this topic is not up for discussion anymore. Her reaction was alarming. She started crying, stomping her feet, and then pretended to faint. Oh my goodness, with the pretending to faint people. She claimed this meant she would never see the baby and that we were excluding her from everything. No, that's not what it means. It just means you're going to be a normal grandma and see him once a week, maybe, if you're even lucky enough to see him then. So so stayed firm and repeated himself, "We are the parents. OP is the mother, and you are the nana. Nobody is taking that away from you, but that is exactly what you are, the nana. The nana does not live with the baby. The mother takes care of the baby. The parents make the decisions. This means we won't visit you, but this doesn't mean we won't visit you, but we have our own household and our own life. I'm genuinely proud of him for standing his ground." Yeah, red, green flags for the guy. Green flags. That's what he should be doing. However, the drama didn't stop there. When she mentioned to a close friend that is giving of ours when he mentioned that a close friend of ours is giving us a lot of baby clothes from their two children, she started crying again. She said she wanted to buy all the baby clothes herself. No, no, absolutely not. I'm left feeling extremely conflicted. On the one hand, I'm proud of myself for finally showing a spine and clearly stating our goals and boundaries. On the other hand, I'm still shaken by how long he defended her and normalized her behavior with my sister in law. I'm honestly speechless that this woman truly believed she would be the one deciding how our money is spent on our baby. Um, yeah, I think that the guy just hasn't thought about things through. Like the sister-in-law not telling them until after she had the baby that she was in labor. He just hadn't thought about that. Some people just don't think. They just don't think unless it's pointed out to them. For additional context, mother-in-law's pension is not enough to support her, and my significant other already helps her financially and pays her mortgage. So why is she thinking she's going to pay for all the baby clothes? She don't even got money. I'm more convinced than ever strong, unbreakable boundaries are necessary, especially around the birth and postpartum period. And you're probably correct. At the same time, I'm still afraid of what will happen when emotions are high and pressure increases. So far, he has held his promise not to tell our new address, and he promised not to tell her when my due date is, and that I will decide when I'm ready to tell her when the baby is born. If anyone has advice on handling mother in laws who use extreme emotional manipulation, fake medical emergencies, and culture as an excuse for control, I'd really appreciate it. Well, I think most people would say that you just don't have, you have either low contact or no contact with people like that because you don't need the hassle. Thank you for reading and the support. It truly helps me feel less alone and less crazy for wanting peace during one of the most vulnerable times of my life. I hope we get another update. And everybody's telling him don't prepare locks, don't let her in, don't tell her anything. Oh, you've got to be kidding me. Oh, here we go. Never mind. I already did this one. Lots of lots of deleted posts today. Don't know what's going on. They were there the other day when I put them on here. This is from Am I the Jerk? And it's entitled AITA for refusing to de-gay myself for my sister's birthday. I, 27 female, I'm a lesbian out for about 6 years. I have a girlfriend, Maya, 26 female. We have been together almost 3 years and we are very much a couple and not just casually dating. Congratulations. Sounds like you might have found your person. My immediate family knows I'm gay, but they treat it like an awkward phase that should not be mentioned in front of impressionable kids. My parents are kind of old school conservative, and my older sister Kate, is super into the whole family image thing. You can't have a family image if you're a gay couple? I'm confused. Until now, I've picked my battles. I did not bring up my love life at Sunday dinners. I do not correct every weird comment. I just live my life and then vent to my friends. You can also come on here and vent if you want. The fight started over my niece's 8th birthday party next month. Kate is doing some big princess theme thing, lots of relatives, a bounce house, the whole suburban circus. She texted me a few weeks ago saying, of course, I'm invited, and asking if I could help with decorations. And at the end of the message, she says, also for this one, can you please come by yourself? I don't want to confuse the kids or start conversation with other parents. Hope you understand. It's so rude. I stared at that heart for like 10 minutes. I called her and asked her what exactly she meant. She said she did not want Maya there because some of the other parents are very traditional and might not want their kids asking questions about my friend is holding my hand. I pointed out that we are not exactly making out at family gatherings. We are just clearly together. She said, yeah, but Lily's at the age where she repeats everything. Okay, what's wrong with being gay? And that my niece had recently told her class that her aunt has a girlfriend, and one of the other moms made a face. Apparently, that was embarrassing for Kate. Poor Kate. It was embarrassing for Kate because the other person's a bigot. I told her I was not going back in the closet for bounce house. I said I would either come with my girlfriend like a normal adult, or if she is so worried, we would just not come at all. She got really upset and said I was making it all about me instead of a little girl's special day. No, you're making it all about you because this should be normal behavior. That your sister's gay, you know she's gay. She knows she has a significant other, and they should not be excluded from things. If she has, if she was in a relationship with a guy, would you exclude him? If the answer to that is no, then you should not exclude her. That's how things work. My mom called to mediate and basically repeated the same lines. That it's just easier for people to assume I'm single, that kids do not need labels. Well, if the kids don't need labels, then stop labeling things. And then we can all pretend for one afternoon and keep the peace. Oh my goodness. You should not have to pretend about your life. Dude. I reminded her that pretending I'm straight or alone is not neutral. It is lying about who I am and about my relationship. My dad chimed in later with a lovely text about how if I'm to walk in arm with another woman, I am forcing my lifestyle on people. No, she's not. If she was forcing her lifestyle on others, she would be telling them to date same sex people. That's You're forcing your lifestyle on her. And it's not even a lifestyle, silly. It's not a lifestyle. It's who she is. Either get used to it or not. And if you don't want her significant other there, then she won't be there. And you can be happy about that. Or you can be mad about it or feel any way you want about it. But it's not fair because you would not be treating um, a straight couple like this. For the record, I have a cousin who brings a new boyfriend every holiday, and no one has ever accused him of forcing anything except bad taste. Maya has been really understanding and told me she will do whatever I decide, but I can tell it hurt her. Of course it did. Poor Maya. She said, I will stay home if you want, but I am tired of being a secret. I completely understand that. Same. I told my family that unless Maya is welcome as my partner, we are not coming, and that I will send Lily a present and a video call instead. Now everyone is blowing up my phone about how I am boycotting my own niece. No, she's not boycotting the niece. She's boycotting you bigots. That's who she's boycotting. And turning the kids' party into a pride protest. Oh, for Pete's freaking sake. No, she just wants to be accepted, just like everybody should be accepted for who they are. Kate said a long paragraph of how Lily cried because Auntie might not be there and that I'm using my sexuality to punish them. I feel awful that my niece is in the middle of this. I love that kid and I know she will not understand while she's at her party. She may not understand now, but in 2 to 4 years, she will definitely understand why. She will definitely know why. At the same time, I'm really done being the quiet, shameful, secret relative who only exists in a version of my family can tolerate. Part of me wonders why she should suck it up one more time for Lily's sake and then slowly distance myself. Another part of me thinks if I cave now, it just teaches them that tantrums work. So Reddit, am I the jerk for refusing to de-gay myself for one afternoon and skipping the party if my girlfriend is not welcome? No, you're not. Your family is. Your families are the only jerks here. You're fine. You should stand up for yourself and your partner. Maya sounds lovely, by the way. You should keep her around. Meant to put a thing of hand cream over here and I didn't. I need to do that. My hands is dry now. The top comment is from Zesty Clothes Height, and it says, NTJ, your family are bigots. What have I been saying? Whose demands you lie, who demands you lie and spare the feelings of other bigots is flat out wrong. Tell them showing up alone would be teaching your niece that there's something wrong with your relationship, and there is not. If they want to stuff you in the closet, you can find a better family. Tell your niece that as much as you love her, you cannot live a lie in order to make prejudiced people feel okay with their hate. The presence of your partner is not punishment. No Shock says, won't it be ironic if the niece grows up and is gay? What in the world will the pearl clutchers do then? Or some comment that was deleted, and the answer to that is, yeah, mom is probably afraid that her precious baby will catch the gay. Chicago Liz says, my kids only attend gay weddings as children, and only one of them is gay, so the casualty will be very tenuous at best. Little Mermaid Thoreau says, meanwhile, I'm from a conservative family, and I think out of 8 of us cousins, only 2 are strictly hetero. Dramatic Ant says, too much watching the Flintstones and having a gay old time. I love Reddit. All right, expectation versus reality. And this is shopping for kids' Christmas present. And she says, so cute. And this is the expectation of what she thought she was shopping for, I guess. It's very cute. It says it's fluffy and you can pet it, I think. Oh my gosh. Oh my God. I should warn you of the jump scare on that. Holy cow. That's horrendous. Oh, that's awful. Oh, just no. Oh, just no. Yes, we have something for everything on this show. All right. If you haven't already, please like, subscribe, and turn on your notifications. I try to go live 4 times a week, usually about noon Eastern time. Tell your friends, family, and your enemies. All of them. If you have a story of your own or come across a good one in the wild, please send us an email entitled submission. If you would like an email link to the current day's live, send an email entitled subscribe. The email is biddybrunchbunch, all one word, at gmail.com. And the email is also in the description for your convenience. And thank you for watching. Next one is our real estate segment. It is called Your Own Private Island with Rustic Cabin. Only $500,000. 585,000. And this is in Birchwood, Wisconsin. We only have 22 photos. So this is the cabin. Looks pretty big for a cabin, if you ask me. 4 bedrooms and 2 baths. That's a pretty big cabin. No way to drive to it, so you're gonna have to have a boat also. I hope the boat's included, because otherwise you're gonna spend a bunch of money on a boat too. It would be nice and private though. Holy cow. It's in Wisconsin, so in the winter you could drive across. Looks like a big house. Okay, when are we gonna get inside? It looks a little more rustic there. Oh, it looks unfinished. That's nice. I mean, that's nice for, I mean, it's cabiny. It's nice cabiny. Why do we have 50 million? Oh, it is not finished. It is not a finished place. I was curious about the chimney there. I'm gonna finish it off before I buy it for $500,000. I mean, it's paneled, but you're gonna have a lot of work. It looks like they are finishing it though. It looks like they are working on it. And that's all they got. I didn't even share it. Let me go back. But there's not much to see, to be honest. I forgot to share it. I'm sorry. I mean, exterior and the interior cabiny. Outside's even unfinished. This looks like the only finished part. There's 2. I mean, the fireplaces are nice. Do they only have fireplace heat? Well, that's gonna be cold. Unless you're just using it in the summer. This room, I don't know. See the chimney? I don't know what that's there for. They don't even have all 4 sides of the exterior. This is just paneled in. There's another word for that, and I can't think of it right now. They do look like they're planning on finishing it because the flooring is right here. I'm assuming that's flooring. That's it. Not very exciting. So it says it was built in 1905. Why is it not finished? Why is it not finished? It was built in 1905. The island is only 2 acres. It looks bigger than that. Unless you're having to share it with somebody. It's on Foss Island. 4 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, 2 full bathrooms. Dining room's on the main level. Bedrooms are all on the second level. Fireplace heating. That's right, no cooling. No appliances. No basement. And only 2 fireplaces. So those 2 fireplaces are your only heat, and the bedrooms are in another floor. That does not sound like a good time for $500,000. Electric says other. I doubt there's any power to it. I doubt that it even has power. You're going to be running a generator the whole time. Purple Square says, what exactly happened here? It looks like the owner had a big build project going on and then stopped. Everything, including the roof, is in an unfinished state with construction material lying around. The OP says it was built in 1905. It has no sales history. At some point, the family who owned it got bored with fixing it up and decided to sell it. That's crazy. All right, now I have traumatized them back. Entitled, "We want me to be more responsible? I'll set a trap for a teacher." Picture the scene. It's 2008. It's grade 11. Your hero, me, is not well liked by my history teacher. I wasn't a bad kid. I just didn't think every rule was there for a good reason. Well, I mean, sometimes. Sometimes you're not wrong about that. I used to get marked absent a lot because some of the other girls and I would do our classwork in the sunny lawn directly in front of his class windows instead of on the other side of the wall in the dimly lit classroom. No, you can't do that. That you are absent. Unless you are in the room and participating, you are absent. We'd go to class, do attendance, listen to his lecture, reading 1 or 2 paragraphs from a textbook out loud, and then fill in the blank work pages he made to do them outside. And he'd furiously bring back out the attendance log and scratch us all off. Why was he letting you leave? Because if I had tried that when I was in school back in the 80s, we'd have been sent to the principal's office. Anyway, parent-teacher student meetings came around. These happen twice per semester. Holy cow, that's a lot. Usually they happen once per semester. And then the second one's only if you're having problems. So you'd have a chance to fix your grades if you're having issues. My parents, very traditional authoritarians, who believed anything authority figure was always automatically right, and anyone disagreeing, especially youths, were always wrong. So cue my helpless outrage when the teacher hands my parents a huge list of all the homework claims I never turned in. What? The attendance issue is one thing. I was already in trouble over that, but that fresh hell was this. I know I did all that work. I know I handled those assignments in. But of course, no one believed me. The teacher himself seemed so convinced that I suspected he simply lost my work himself and said as much, and every adult at the table pushed back because obviously only a student would make that mistake, not a teacher. With no one on my side and half a semester of this BS left to go, I decided to set a trap for the history teacher. I was going to clear my name. I made a table, printed it out, taped it inside the front cover of my textbook so I wouldn't lose it. It was a log for keeping track of assignments with a column for each name of the assignment, the dates assigned and handed in, but most importantly, my signature and the teacher's signature. I lied to the teacher and said my parents made me do it to be more responsible for myself, that he wouldn't be suspicious about putting his signature all over that paper. My parents had no idea I was doing this, but for the next couple of months, I carefully tracked every single page that passed between us and had him sign every one. Good for you. Well, the end of the semester rolls around, time for those meetings again. I'm buzzing with anticipation, fear, and unmatched teenage righteous indignation. I pack my textbook into my bag, and my parents and I make our rounds to all the tables in the cafeteria, with all the teachers seated around like a sad academic speed dating event. That is exactly what it's like. Oh my god, I never thought of that before. That's exactly what that is, the speed dating event. I saved the best for last. Sure enough, when we sit down with the history teacher, he's got a big list of my missing work. As he is smugly going over it with my mom and dad, I bring out my textbook, open my log sheet, and begin highlighting every line where it shows he signed me handing those various assignments in. Every single bit of homework he claims I didn't do there was there, signed and accounted for, and I turned it over to him. Like, you signed this that he had it. Are you kidding me right now? Dude, what is with this teacher? Oh my goodness. The pause that followed has brought me pride and satisfaction every time I thought about it for the last 20 years. There was no epic fanfare, no fireworks. No one stood and applauded, but that delicious tension that nobody at the table but I was basking in. It was its own reward. My trap did work flawlessly, my name was cleared, and done it literally by the book. I was immune to all consequences. Any teenager could tell you how rare and amazing that is. My parents really didn't say anything. They didn't want to undermine authority, but couldn't argue with the facts. So they just sat back and let it unfold quietly. The teacher said he'd just remove those assignments from the grading altogether since he didn't know where they were. Annoying because I did that work for nothing, but whatever. He wasn't accountable in any way, and I didn't care, but I got what I wanted. Actually, you should go with the principal with that because that is a dereliction of duty, especially if it was, I mean, I can understand occasionally missing one kid's assignment, like things happen. And in that case, you give the kid an A and you can move on. But doing it over and over again to the same kid and then signing that you received it and removing it, like, are you kidding me right now? What the heck? It was the first time I've ever had the courage and wherewithal to stand up to authority in any way that ensured my success. It was subtle and a little devious. It wasn't devious at all. That was not devious or subtle or anything like that. That was in your face. You are signing this saying that I turned it in. And then you try to pull bull crap on it? No, absolutely not. I guess that's how I roll. No, it wasn't devious at all. That was not devious. Devious would be making him sign it and not telling him why. That would be devious. Miss Shayla says, I took my driver's ed at my high school. The teacher that ran it tried to tell my grandma I was missing four tests and would not pass. It was a little it was an extra after school class that our parents paid $200 for, and we couldn't even take the book home with us. All the work and testing was done in class. Of course, I argued, but Mr. R just pointed to the giant stacks of papers behind him and told him I was welcome to look through the stacks to see if he missed them. And think he thought I'd give up at that point, but no, I wouldn't either. I'd be going through all of them. I don't know how long it took, but I waded through those stacks and found every missing test in front of them both. They had a grade on them as well. My grandma was pissed and said she would be meeting with the principal tomorrow regarding his organization and treatment of certain students. Turned out he tried to do that with 3 other kids I knew as well, but they didn't bother looking through the stacks. I still don't know how many he actually did this to, but I wonder why. What was the end game here? Did he get a bonus for the class? I don't get it. Painted cover pup says if you fail, they have to take the class again. That's an extra $200 in his pocket. Unconcerned about the student's family's financial situation. OP says, I'm so proud of you. Epic win and so worth the effort. Cami Calm says the story makes 0 sense. Yeah, it does. That's true. What did the teacher think he was signing? Why would he sign every homework but then think he could get away with saying it never was? Wow, guy's a dick, says, right? He's going to sign off for receiving the assignment and then claim he never turned it in. I've known some stupid people, but this doesn't ring true. And the OP says he sincerely believed I was losing my own homework and that it wasn't his fault. It took the proof of him to realize what he was actually doing. Guy had like 200 students spread over 8 classes. I think you're overestimating his focus on me in particular. Oh, so he's doing it to other kids too. Honestly, if I was that kid's parents, I would be going to the principal. I'd be going to the principal right now. Like, we are going right now to see the principal, because the principal does, at least our principals always, were there for parent teacher night. Next is confession. I haven't had Wi-Fi in my house for over 3 or even 4 years. I'm a 30-year-old guy and I used to constantly be online. If I wasn't playing online games like MMOs or Call of Duty Warzone, I'd get really anxious even when I wasn't gaming. I needed something streaming on the TV at all times. I mean, that happens sometimes. Some of us just need something to do. I still own DVDs of my original Xbox 360. I've tried getting into Xbox One single player campaigns, but they don't really hold my attention the way online games play. I think I have ADHD, guy, and need some meds. You should look into that. I moved about 3 or 4 months ago and realized the only reason I even considered setting up Wi-Fi is for Ring camera. Other than that, I honestly can't think what I'd use it for. I use an antenna TV and watch news and late night shows. I go to a local bar to watch my NBA team play. I work entirely from my phone. I listen to music a lot instead of leaving the TV on all the time. Reddit is basically the only app I use. It's weird realizing how dependent I used to be on the internet and how little I seem to need it now. I don't know if it's growth, burnout, or just a phase, but I'm curious if anyone else has experienced this. Kai Morris says, considering how advanced phones are, it's possible not to not need Wi-Fi for a lot of stuff, especially if you get the consistent 5G. What work do you do, if you don't mind me asking, that you only need your phone, or did you mean that you tether your phone to your laptop and such? And he did not seem to answer that. um, One commenter said, I love what you're doing and find it intriguing. I work from home, so couldn't do the same, but inspired. I would be careful about the antenna, TV antenna news that all owned by Sinclair and Boyle propaganda at this point. It is not all owned by Sinclair. It's not. I don't even have a Sinclair station available to me in my local area. He says, I watch 10 o'clock news and watch Jimmy Fallon as they play pool, and then I watch 2.5 Men and go to bed. Sounds like a lovely life, guy. Interesting AF, entitled, Over a Third of My Brain Was Removed. There is a picture, and that's all it says. Is it X-ray? With all that brain removed, how do you even live? How do you function? I don't understand. I don't get it. Why? It doesn't say. Okay, improvement says, wait, I need more explanation. What does that do? Take away your memories? Change anything about your daily life? I presume a ton. OP says, I didn't lose anything other than a large amount of function on my left side. I don't think this is even true because he's not answering questions. He didn't really answer any of the questions. He made a few comments, but he didn't answer any of the questions. Like, I want a full explanation of what you were going through. Is it a brain tumor or what? Next is, am I the a-hole? Am I the a-hole for asking my boyfriend's dad whether he planned on eating his pet cat? I mean, unless you had indications, probably. I, 19 female, met my boyfriend, 26 male. That's quite the age gap there, girl. Parents for the first time last weekend over lunch. He warned me his parents could be a little bit weird, so I was prepared for that. But during lunch, they made repeated jabs at me for my age, which I did not appreciate. Maybe you shouldn't be with this guy. The topic of pets came up in the conversation, and I told him about my pet rabbits. When his dad heard He asked whether I was raising them for food, and at this point I was quite offended and said, "Well, are you raising a cat for food?" People raise rabbits for food. People do not raise cats for food. It's perfectly viable, cromulent question. Yeah, you're the asshole. And I pointed to their cat, which he said something to the effect of "Don't talk back," which found quite infantilizing and a bit creepy. I excused myself from the lunch. Giraffe Primary says, "Why is a 26-year-old dating a teenager?" Indeed. Love me long time says, "You know why. I love me. I love me long time." Says, "You know why." Half the age plus 7 seems to be the sociable to acceptable age gap, which makes her too young even by this rule. At least she's not underage. I like her attitude. She seems to be able to stand her ground. No, I disagree. She is the asshole. Because that was a dumb question. The rest of it, no, you're not the asshole for like not for like finding this family creepy and um blipping out on the lunch, but 26-year-old man has no business dating a teenager. 100%. I don't get why people think it's acceptable to ask, not acceptable to ask questions like, unless you specified that was a pet rabbit. Asking a question about why she has rabbits is perfectly acceptable. My niece raises rabbits, she eats them. She likes it. This is from Overheard, entitled My Dad and the Neighbor's Dog. My dad acts like he hates animals, claims they smell weird and shed too much. Last week, a neighbor little terrier escaped. I opened the door at midnight after hearing a noise outside and found my dad in the driveway on his knees whispering, "Buddy, please, I'm begging you. I'll give you chicken. Just don't run away." He froze when he saw me. The dog ran straight into his arms. The next morning, the owner thanked us, and my dad said, "Yeah, well, the dog seemed emotionally fragile. Sir, you were about to cook him a midnight chicken bribe." Oh, my dad was always a no animals in the house person until a few years ago when he rescued a kitten. And he's definitely not a cat person. Until a few years ago, he rescued this little tiny kitten out of his barn. The mother seemed to have disappeared. The kitten seemed to be starving. So he took the cat to the vet, got the cat well, had the cat for years, loved the stupid cat. I think he loved the stupid cat more than he loved us, to be honest. Like, dude, men are weird that way. Some men are. The next one is the title read from True Off My Chest, entitled Wife Hates My Kids and I'm Leaving Her for It. My wife knows my main account, and we both like to read stories together on different subs, and I never imagined I would be writing about my life here. Make that soon to be ex wife. Weeks ago, there was a post about a teen girl confronting her dad and going no contact because his wife openly dislikes her. In the comments, some stepmoms from a toxic sub rated the girl's profile to tell her that it's her own fault and she's being treated that way. Mm, not always. In the comment, one user being downvoted to oblivion. That user seems to have made hating her stepkids her entire personality. The avatar they used an old picture of my cat as a kitten. Interesting. My wife and I enjoy reading Reddit stories together and knew each other's accounts, but I guess this was her secret one. I understand venting, but her entire post history is dedicated to how much she hates her skids and the baby mama. My ex had a very civil divorce. My ex and I have a very civil divorce, and we co-parent well. I do not hate her, and she's a great mom. My wife has told me she wants no interaction with a woman I was involved with, and she was upset when I would go to her house, my old home, to talk to her about our kids. Yeah, she should be an ex-wife. She also told me she was uncomfortable with us having a family group chat and I stopped to make her happy. Well, that's not right. Family group chats, your kids are your family. You should have a family group chat with them. My wife had a falling out with my mom last year after my mom called out my wife for the way she acts when my kids are over. My mom told me my wife is cold to them and goes out of her way to make sure they are excluded, and I had to be careful. Wife used her anxiety as an excuse, and I backed her. My wife has diagnosed anxiety and said that she was excusing herself when she felt at edge. I was dumb enough to believe her. Turns out my mother was right about everything. Everything my wife told me about my kids being her bonus kids was a complete lie. She calls my daughter snitchy bitchy for telling my mom that she thinks my wife hates her and makes my ex out to be some sort of evil single mom character that lives to cause trouble for my wife while demanding money. She even plans on having a no more child support party when my youngest turns 18. Most of her posts are about my daughter. She called her stunted for her doll collection and openly mocks her with her little friends on top, saying that she has nothing personality on top of diagnosing her with BPD, borderline personality disorder. She sexualizes everything my daughter does and even admits she was saying ew under her breath when she hugs me goodbye. Apparently, my 15-year-old was my surrogate wife until she put a stop to it. Her entire account reads like a jealous witch. When she writes about my son, she uses his first name and makes him out to be some wild brat, but leaves out that he is nonverbal and has chronic health problems due to his past injury. From her promise as if I force her to be their mom, when in reality we live in another state temporarily due to my job. And I have them one weekend every month where I am the sole caretaker. She usually spends those days having her self-care days or participates in her solo hobbies. I also found out that she is child-free, something she never cared to share with me. She vents about having to settle for a single dad. Yikes. Our entire marriage was a lie, and I confronted her with the posts. She says it was a form of therapy and venting, but I threw that away. I understand venting, but this was months of mocking my family and calling me a bad father. She's asking for another chance, but I told her that I do not believe in our relationship will last. I'm staying with my parents, and my ex knows that we will likely be separating soon. My daughter's smart, and she's caught on to that something is wrong. Well, she's 15. She knows. She's probably known all along. I'll talk to her after the holidays and when I get a lawyer. Meantime, my wife is texting me like everything will be all right because she deleted the account and says she will get help for her social media addiction. I haven't told anyone outside my family what is going on, and I think she's convinced we will go back to normal soon. All I can say is Merry Christmas. I thought I had my life partner, but turns out I was just settled for. This woman was with me at my lowest when we met in AA, and I thought we were building a life together. I failed my kids by bringing her into our lives, and I will not have someone who hates them in our home. Redford Galt said, dude, print out everything and save the screenshots on a USB stick only you have access to. You are 100% doing the right thing by obliterating your connection with this woman. Best wishes. Hope says, I have everything from her Reddit account, all her posts, and in a step-parent, stepmom sub full of people like her. She was upset because I sent her sister a screenshot when she texted me back to why I left her sister, since my wife was telling a different story. Of course she was, because she's a liar, liar, liar. She's running around telling lies, sounds like. Next one. Yeah, I'm good. Yeah, poor guy. Poor guy's life was a whole lie. And the kids did not deserve that one. Sound like they're good kids. One of them can't even be a good kid. Okay, this is an update. Okay, the original got deleted. So the update is the original girlfriend moved in and now I catch her. Oh, this is from What Should I Do? What Do I Do? Girlfriend moved in and now I catch her watching me sleep at night. This doesn't feel normal. and this is an update. And he says, I need a sanity check because this started to mess with my head. I'm 24 male. My girlfriend is 26 female. We have been together about a year and a half. She moved in with me 2 months ago, and since then, my sleep has been trash. A few times now, I've woken up in the middle of the night and she's just sitting watching me sleep, like fully awake, staring, no phone, no TV, just watching me. The first time I thought it was half dreaming and brushed it off, then it kept happening. Last night was the worst. Woke up and she was leaning on her hand, just looking at me, smirking with wide eyes, and I felt my stomach drop. When I confronted her about it, she acts like it never happened. She claims she doesn't remember doing it at all and almost shrugs it off. Maybe she's sleepwatching you. No real concern or urgency to figure out why she's doing it. She even suggested I might be imagining things, which honestly pissed me off because I know what I saw. Just take pictures. This only started after she moved in, and somehow how I'm supposed to act like it's nothing. I don't know if this is some deep red flag control thing or something else entirely, but my gut is telling me something is wrong here. So ask her what's going on when you wake up and catch her doing it, not the next day. Well, of course, yeah. There's a small chance she really doesn't remember it. But she's actually awake and conscious, just confront her straight away. She can't deny it. She's caught red-handed. Exactly. This is why 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 would he not say something in the moment? My boyfriend has a sleep disorder that sometimes causes him to sit up straight, seem wide awake with his eyes open, but he's really sleeping. He's like sleepwalking minus the walking part. So it could well be something like that, which is what I said. Cozy Bell says that's a fair point. Disorders can look creepy as heck from the outside, especially when somebody's eyes are open, but they're not really awake. Even though the smirking and brushing it off afterward would mess with me too. Even if it's sleep related, it feels like something that needs to be taken seriously and checked out. I think you just should ask her when she does it. I wonder if there's another update. And the put's been bad. So we will never know. We will never know if she was sleepwatching. This is from Mildly Infuriating, entitled This is How My 19-Year-Old Son Tops Up the Toilet Paper Reserve. I like him. Oh, really great. He's not lazy. He's efficient. Like, this seems perfectly acceptable to me. Is it not acceptable to you? First comment is, at least he put the lid back on. And Stone like Onyx says I can't have him going stale. Oh, that's funny. Shooky Cookie says I actually laughed out loud when I opened the pic and saw the basket lid on top of the giant stack. Winta says this has to be some kind of passive aggressive statement. Parent probably complained that they didn't ever do it, so this is a result. Yeah, it's malicious compliance is what that is. Oh, that's great. I love it. This is from Am I overreacting? AIO, he always accuses me of cheating. Somebody's always accusing you of cheating. Probably projection. Just saying. It starts out, says, but can have some spicy purple Dorito. I'm going to Walmart now. That was. Sorry, I can't steer this cart and hold my phone. I'm going to crash, but what chips? Who was you talking to when you called me? Nobody is talking to me. I was walking. So whose voice was you talking to that I just listened? Probably somebody in the store was talking. Bruh, I'm done. I'm like mad. Nobody was talking to me. I'm walking. You just called me stupid, bitch. No, she didn't. Don't act like I'm tripping you, dumb. See you next Tuesday. You just wanging called me, and there was somebody else talking. He was in a store. The people talk. Don't you wanging gaslight me. I love you, but I'm never going to let you gaslight me again. Maybe someone's voice picked up because I'm in a public place, but Jesus, nobody is near me. I'm not talking to any stranger in Walmart. I'm literally buying you chips and being nice. And you just accuse me always I'm in public. No, I didn't, you stupid hoe. He's so nice. Well, he might be this, maybe. I asked who was talking, you said you dumb bitch. I don't know who the F I was talking. I was trying to get my card to say straight. Don't winging act like I'm out of pocket. Now, I'm gonna act like you're out of pocket because you are. And now I'm pissing people off because I'm texting you while I'm trying to shop. I just want to know what chips you want. I'm in public. Yeah, maybe somebody's voice picked up on my phone as I walk by. There's 100 people here. What chips do you want? Forget the chips. I'm getting Doritos. No, you're not overreacting. You need to drop this guy like a hot potato or a hot Dorito. I get called names just for simply responding when he asked me 3 times until I snapped. And then I'm the bad guy, right? Always being accused of cheating, asking for attention by doing things. I'm feeling guilt for just being alive. The next time he asks you who you're talking to, make something up. But then now that I'm left the bad guy who always starts an argument, I'm listening to my friend's opinions, which he made me cut off because we were dating and I had no choice to leave. Telling me I'm already out with other guys when I literally feel like I've been hit by a train after 5 years of being treated. 5 years? Girl, you put up with this for 5 years? Get out now. Get out yesterday. I've been hit by a train after 5 years of being treated like this, walking on eggshells, and then after him saying why I wasn't able to love him properly. How can anyone feel comfortable in this life? No one, and you should leave. Lost and dumbfounded said, not dumbfounded, dumbfound. Said, I was in a relationship like this and I was so used to normalizing it until one day my brain just said, we both say we love each other, but I wouldn't dream of treating him the way he treats me. And it clicked. I couldn't look at him the same way after. Breaking up with him was something I considered the best decision I've ever made in my life. If you haven't already, block this a-hole. And she says, yeah, that's how I feel about this. He doesn't love me. He controls me and he loves that. And that woke me up. In fact, I don't even like being around him anymore. I was barely hanging out with him the past few months. I pushed him away. Good. Keep doing that. That's why he thinks you're cheating. um, now the seller says he's abusive and he's doing what he wants on the side while leaving you to question yourself so don't question him. And Horror Macaron says, deflection at its finest. Every time a guy accused me of cheating or being a hoe when I was younger, it turns out he was doing those exact things. That's usually how it is. They don't trust because they think everyone cannot commit because they can't. And some guys berating her for asking what the F she's doing with him. And somebody else says abuse is a weird thing. It says, yep, it is. Sometimes you don't see it for what it is, until it's 5 years later and you're going, what am I doing here? And it's hit sometimes, especially if it's abusive, it takes a long time to get out of that relationship for some people. You kind of have to be patient and hope nothing bad happens in the meantime, because that happens too. Sorry, my voice is leaving me because I'm sick or have been sick. But we're almost done, so it's okay. The next is Best of Redditor updates. I-28 female being held hostage at my parents' place. 57 male and 53 female, and I don't know what to do. Well, if you're really being held hostage, you should holla. So original post was April 18th, 2023, entitled AITA for not traveling to my home country to get surgery done. I-25 female has been living in Australia for the last 4 years. Last month, I fractured my hand and had to get surgery. My parents wanted me to take sick leave and come to India to get it fixed. Their reasoning, it'd be very expensive to get it fixed here. And wouldn't it be easier to have someone take care of me? I understand their concern, but I wanted to be able to fix things where possible. I suggested that I suggested I talk to the doctor and explore my options before I decide to fly to India. After talking to doctors, I realized it was cheaper to stay here and get the surgery, as my insurance covered most of it. Yes, I'm coughing up a third lung. Sorry. I didn't want to go to India for various reasons. First, I didn't want to have the chance to try and fix things by myself wherever possible. Second, I had some major changes happening at work and I wanted to be around for that. And lastly, my father has been looking into various marriage proposals for me, even though I have made it abundantly clear that I do not want an arranged marriage. I've been planning on telling them about my non-Indian boyfriend, and I don't want to be there until I had done that. Also, I came back from India after a month-long vacation in November, so it's not like I haven't seen him for a long time. When I called up my father to tell him that I wanted to get the surgery done here, he blew up. He screamed at me for 10 minutes saying, "You have absolutely zero sense in you. You always assume that you know best." This sounds like an Indian father. If you know, you know. I mean, I don't know personally, but I've seen it. Just because you've got a little bit of money, you think you can handle everything yourself. Of course, you don't even care we're dead or alive. Dude, calm down. You'd rather cut all contact with your family because you prefer this independent life. That's not what she said. We don't have any right to take care of our own family members now. Yeah, sure. Stay with people there that you call friends because they're above your family to you now. And ultimately, let us know if you even want us in your life anymore. And he blocked me after that. Okay, you're done, dude. Well, maybe after he unblocks you once, but if he ever blocks you again, you're done. Because that should not be happening. You should not block your children. You should not block your children. That's just you being a little petty wuss. This was 4 weeks ago. I got the surgery done and haven't heard from them at all. I called my mother 3 times and she hasn't picked up. My brother is getting mad at me and that I'm making more of an effort to reach out to them, but honestly, I'm too furious right now. They had concerns about me getting my surgery done here, and I got solutions to their concerns. They still insisted I come to India, which just makes me believe that all they care about is control, possibly. They want me in India to ease my life, but when I decided to get the surgery done here, they did not hesitate to put additional stress on me. Also, it's their anniversary in a couple of days, and I might not get the chance to wish them. That's okay. That's their choice. They're making choices. They're making choices, so you don't have to do anything. You don't owe your parents anything. I'm working hard to be a strong, independent woman, and I want to have the best relationship with my parents, but I also am afraid that having that kind of relationship will just come with me having a lot less control over my life. AITA for not giving that out. Nope, not at all. Edit, wow, this blew up. I wasn't expecting to reach so many people. Thank you for so much for everyone for your comments. I really appreciate it. I'm going through them and I'm trying to reply to all, but it just might be a little slow. Excuse me. I saw a lot of comments saying that they might marry me off when I go back. Yeah, I that was a thought I had too. I don't think they can force me into a marriage, and surely any self-respecting guy wouldn't want to marry someone who doesn't want them. I don't know anymore. I just knew there would be a lot of emotional drama, manipulation, and not what I refuse to look on the potential suitors. And I don't want to be there in such a vulnerable condition dealing with that. And you shouldn't have to. Updated post December 4th, 2025, 2 years and 8 months later. Edit. Taking into account a couple of comments and a DM, maybe the term hostage was too extreme. If a word, I apologize. It wasn't for clickbait, but I was extremely emotional when I wrote this. I, 28 female Indian, am so exhausted of fighting. I'm writing this on my phone in a very emotional state, so apologies if it isn't well formatted or isn't written well. 3 years ago, I made a post about how my family stopped talking to me because I didn't travel back to my home country to get surgery done. Well, never really got better. I started talking to them maybe a year after my surgery when they reached out, and it wasn't great. All we did was fight, and any cordial conversations were conversations of no value. Essentially, just limited to how's work going, what do you eat, blah, blah, blah. Last year, they showed up in Australia out of the blue, and I didn't handle that well. No, you shouldn't show up out of the blue. That is not good. My partner and I met them, but suffice to say, they were not happy. Coming back today, I came to visit them in India with my partner staying with us for a week and then 2 weeks without him. They were adamant they only wanted to spend time with me. You don't even want to get to know the guy that your daughter's dating? Kind of weird. I was keen to work on the relationship because I do want to get married and I have the option to have potential children. I can't really don't want to do that without them involved in my life. I'm dating an Australian guy, 28 male, who has been in a relationship with over 5 years. They made they made an excuse so we wouldn't stay with them together, but they met up with us for lunch the day my partner was leaving. These are parents you don't need in your life. Ever since I started staying with them, they've talked about how I should extend my trip. I've made it very clear about how I can't. I have multiple fights with them over this. One of them where my dad started talking about how I'm essentially filth and I live in filth, and he can't believe I've been loving filth this entire time. That's abusive. They've been taking me around out relatives and didn't leave me the day I had my return ticket. I've cried so much talking to them, but apparently, sorry, I've cried so much talking to them, but apparently the plan is always is what they want from me. They've said I'm not allowed to leave anymore because apparently I've been become a very negative person and they are worried about me. She's not become a negative person because of she's living in Australia. She's become a negative person because you're negative people. They've said the Australian chapter is closed for me and I'm staying here from now on. I mean, that sounds like hostage to me. I'm so scared and I really don't know how to deal with this situation. I'm looking for advice to anyone at all. I want to leave, but I'm worried that they're going to stand guard in front of my door from now on and not let me walk out. My brother's physically bigger and stronger than me, and he isn't on my side either. Some of her comments. Just another Maine girl says, you are an adult. A quick Google of Indian law shows that holding you there against your will is a violation of Indian Penal Code. Also, so call your local law enforcement, explain your situation, have them escort you out the door and over to the airport. If your birth family is violently opposed to your relationship, there is no way they are ever going to agree to a wedding. So you have no reason to keep them in your life anymore. Go back to Australia where you will be safe from them, and then you will, when you're ready, marry your boyfriend in civil ceremony. No, don't do that. You want do the whole wedding. It just won't be an Indian wedding. In case you aren't aware, Indian weddings are like a week long. They're crazy, and that's okay. It's their tradition. It's cool. A civil ceremony, no. Have your wedding. Your your fiance deserves to have the wedding if you even if you can't do it your way. Up to you on whether you notify your family after the fact or simply go no contact. I'm sorry, OP, but ultimately you need to know what feels best for your own authentic life. Allowing yourself to stay trapped in someone in your birth family's home until they can marry you off to somebody they select does not sound like something you want. Remember, this is the only life you're ever going to get. And she says, thank you. I've been too disturbed to think rationally and just want to seek advice from other people because calling cops seems too extreme. But my aunt threatened to tear up my passport or lodge a FIR against me. I don't know what an FIR is. For made up reasons, so I'll be tangled in court cases and won't be able to leave. I'm just really scared to do this alone, but I guess I have to. Moose Life says, will the cops take this type of call seriously or will they treat it as a family matter, even though it's illegal? If you think this might happen, rather contact a woman's shelter. Do they even have those in India? Also, ensure your partner knows exactly what's going on and keep messages as a record of how your family has treated you because it's needed in case it's needed in the future. That's the other thing I'm worried about. Family relationships trump everything else in India, and I don't know to what extent it extends to cops as well. I've emailed a woman's shelter, but I don't have an Indian number, and I haven't been able to make the calls. She adds, I've been holding my passport, my visa, and my credit cards on me at all times. I'm worried my father can escalate things further because I never expected to turn out this way, and they did. My boyfriend can book tickets for me for sure, but he's not in the country, so his involvement would be limited. And to a different commenter says, I can enable roaming and then hopefully make calls. Booking Uber would be fine, but it would be good to have a way to make calls if needed. I honestly don't care about money at this point. I also have an eSIM that only has data so I can still access the internet. Honestly, I think if you're traveling outside your own country, you should buy an extra plan for a short amount of time. You can do it as little as a month at a time. Like if I went out of the country, I can go to Canada or Mexico and it won't cost me any more. Or I can upgrade my phone plan, use the same SIM card and and just add on, foreign calls and stuff. I might not need them. I might not even use it, but it's there if I need it, you know. Somebody said leave early in the morning, middle of the night. The house isn't too big and the door always makes a lot of noise when open, so go out a window. Sorry, I know it sounds like an excuse, but I'm really scared of getting caught and making things much worse. But I know I'd have to do that, and that's the only way. We're leaving for my parents' place tomorrow for my grandparents. Opportunity to skate yet because I've constantly been surrounded by too many people, but I know I have to act for it when we're at my parents. To a longer comment, it says, thank you so much for your reply. I appreciate you citing texts that they hold so dear. My family, my relatives love me so much, but their love borders around possession. I've heard such foul things from them, including how no other girl in the family would ever be given the opportunity to grow from now on because the example I've set after being trusted. I'm so exhausted of being blamed for every effing problem. Later in the comment thread, I love this so much I had GITA with me for a couple of years, but I haven't read it. I don't know what that means. If I get out of the situation, I'm definitely reading it. Thank you for your insight. It must be a book or something. My family is extremely religious, and on the other reason they're worried is because our family astrologer apparently told them I'm on a very wrong path. Ooh, crap. In 3 to 4 years, my life would be absolutely ruined. They think they're protecting me, but I can't not get to myself. I'm gonna see if I can figure out what this. Yeah, maybe I'll do it later. Maybe I'll do it later. Your father called N Dave T says your father called you filth. I'm not sure that's love. Exactly. And she says he's been acting all loving since then, and this has always been the pattern. He spews hateful things at me and then acts normal the next day, or extra loving. I'm supposed to forget all about it. That's gaslighting, honey. I've always been told his anger is just built up frustration, but when I get angry, I'm told I need to see a psychiatrist or counselor. Is OLP an Australian citizen? No. Unfortunately, not. Otherwise, I could imagine. Not otherwise, not. Nope, unfortunately, not. Otherwise, I could imagine Australian embassy being a lot more involved. Ultra Prismatic says, or Prismic. I think you should post this in an Indian specific sub. Americans who aren't familiar with India can't say whether the cops or not will hold up the law for you. It might be smarter to play along with your family until they trust you enough to leave the house on your own or just slip away while running errands. And she says, I've tried finding India specific subreddits to post, but in my state, I feel like this is the easiest place to post. I wanted to post in an Indian subreddit, but they changed the way you post. Ask India, and I don't know any. I knew no one would ever see it. Comments from Ask Indian Women subreddit. Educate Quiet says if you can still use technology, contact a lawyer and file a habeas corpus writ. You can obviously call the cops too. Also, ask your partner to book a ticket for you to travel back to Australia and legitimately run away. I mean, what other options do you even have? You don't know your visa situation, but staying like this at 28 isn't healthy. And OOP answers general consensus on relationship advice subreddit by Indians was to not call the cops as they might not cooperate. Consider this a family matter and side with the parents. I don't know what they can or can't do as I have to involve the cops before. I'm just scared to do what to do now. Contact a lawyer. She needs to contact a lawyer. No necessary says this post is so confusing. I don't understand how exactly they are preventing you from leaving. Are you locked in a room or something? You have access to the phone and internet. Hopefully, you have your passport. She doesn't have access to the phone. She said that. Book a ticket for yourself. Ask your partner to book it for you and walk out the damn door. Unless you're physically tied to a bedpost in a locked room, I'm not able to grasp what the situation is here. You are a grown adult. Why are you seeking their permission to leave? Also, we have 24 hours in a day. Your brother is not going to spend the entire time guarding you. It will take you 2 minutes to grab your necessary documents and reach the front door. She says, I know for a fact that if I walk out with bags, they will physically stop me, and I don't know what other consequences would be once they know I want to walk out. The only thing I can think of is to leave without bags, and I probably have to do that. Update November 9th, 2025. Or sorry, December 9th, 2025. So just last month. 5 days later. Thank you, everyone, for all of your concerns and suggestions and for giving me hope. I don't want to update sooner because I was struck me very late that there is a small possibility my brother uses Reddit. The chances of him coming across this were slim, but I didn't want to risk anything. In short, I ended up running away from home. I'm still contemplating if the decision I took was too extreme for the situation, but I think I'd go crazy if I went down that rabbit hole. But yeah, don't even contemplate it. You made your action, you're fine. A couple of friends of mine had a friend who I met last month was hesitant to reach out to because he was a fairly recent friend in a town 3 hours away. So my boyfriend and my friends planned my getaway. I was constantly surrounded by my relatives slash parents to plan things, but for everyone reading, I have sound mind and decision to do this was mine alone. I snuck out in the night and we came back from my relatives on the pretext of going for a walk, but I know they probably have found out not too long after I left. My friend was waiting in his car close to my place and he drove me to the airport. It was perfect because booking a cab would have made issues with timing. I didn't know when we would be in a good time to sneak out, so having a friend around gave me flexibility to sneak out on my own convenience. The priority was getting out of the country as soon as possible without even knowing what was the best way to get to Australia. This was also crazy timing with the Indigo fiasco. Editors note this is regarding the India Go airline and flight disruptions. Oh, so it's Indigo, not Indigo. I'm not sure if it helped or hurt our chances. I could only do this because the immense support of my friends back home who spent a lot of time planning the routes and booking the flights for me so as not to arouse suspicions from my family and very little for them to act on. I've had messages from them and a few calls. All I've done is message them that it was my decision to leave and list a couple of points on why and that I'd be keen to work on the relationship if they can try to come around to my life choices. Thank you again, everyone, especially to people who reached out, and I'm doing okay. Edit. Thanks to everyone who's been following my story for all the support here. I know there's been a lot of backlash in the comments around me wanting to work on the relationship. I just want to be clear that it doesn't mean I'm going back to India in the next few years or ever putting myself in a situation where I would be face to face myself by myself. and even then they would have to put up significant work to earn back my trust. This would need to happen over the phone, and I'm not going to be taking an apology with a grain of salt. I'm not hearing them out on any other thing than an apology anytime soon. My partner and I agreed that throwing away the relationship I've had for the past 28 years of my life is a really big step. And now that I've gotten out, they have lost a lot of the power they once had. Now that we have the advantage in the situation, we want to show some level of mercy. And this is just because they can't do anything from this country from a legal perspective. Just to be clear, showing mercy does not mean meeting them. It just means I'm willing to hear them out only over calls. Even if they show up in Australia, as was their right, they're not scared. We were not scared. Last time they dropped by unannounced, they walked around town without knowing where we were for days. And we were more confident in the legal protection we have here. I'll be seeing a therapist soon because since getting back, I've not been sleeping the best. Therapy is probably a good idea. I've been having dreams every night and I'm still trapped and have no way of getting out. This has been a big ordeal and I'm not going to pretend that I'll be fine for professional help. We'll be dropping an email to the Indian embassy letting them know that I've left on my own will and any potential complaints from India are fabricated. And the top comment there was, I'd be keen to work on the relationship if they can try to come around with my life's choices. You are setting yourself up to be kidnapped again. Next time, no, she's not because she's not going back to India. Next time you won't be getting out in one piece of it all. They'll pretend to come around to your life choices and convince you to come visit again or want you to meet you with somewhere you'll never be heard from again. She's going to therapy. I'm sure the therapist will cover that, dude. Don't do this. They showed you who they are and the lengths that they'll go to control you. Believe their actions, not their words. They are a danger to you. I'm so glad you got away. Don't ruin the second chance you've been given by trusting them again. And somebody answered, every time you want to reach out to people who are in prison, you call a therapist. There are plenty of Indian psychiatrists who understand what this was about to happen and the psychological impact of how you were raised and treated. Yeah. Bug Hunter says families willing to resort to holding women hostage like this will also lie to convince them to come back. Yes, so don't go back. You don't have to believe everything they say. Mom, dad, sister, brother has cancer, somebody died and left money, or we'll leave your child money but we want to see them, or any number of shenanigans to get you back in their clutches. So they can come to Australia. She doesn't have to go back to India. Stealing passports is so common in these situations. It reminds me of a legal advice post where the couple went to visit Egypt by both being U.S. citizens, but their Egyptian father had an exit plan put on at OP's significant other without notice. A few very smart individuals suggest sneaking across the international border to leave Egypt. I would read more, but my throat is like giving up on me. So next we have Made Me Smile. And it says, I settled an endometriosis disability discrimination case against my former employer, the state agency, and I did it pro se. Good for you. Pro se means that they were their own lawyer. And I know sometimes people say that you shouldn't be your own lawyer, but my grandfather did it, and he won. I filed this lawsuit pro se in June 2023 after exhausting every internal and administrative option available to me. And after being told by many legal professionals that I had no case, I refused to believe that. In 2022, not only did I lose my job to blatant discrimination after disclosing the symptoms of my endometriosis, but the aftermath upended my entire life. Just 5 days later, my then husband left because the financial strain was more than our marriage could survive. For the next 3 months, I was homeless. The future I had spent so long to build collapsed in just a matter of 2 weeks. I lost everything, but I returned this loss into fire. I wrote every brief. I deposed every witness. I argued alone in federal court. I learned that the law as I lived it and refused to let my harm be treated as ordinary. None of it was easy, but all of it was necessary. Well, she had nothing else to do. She didn't have a job. You know, like, don't fire people if you don't want them coming after you, because then they have all the time in the world. Some say that is the first case in all of North Carolina to recognize endometriosis as an ADA disability, and the first case in the nation to allow a plaintiff to proceed on this theory. As of yesterday, it was resolved for a substantial settlement, but more importantly, institutional reform. This season has taught me so much about the importance of persevering against all odds. It taught me that change only happens when we are bold enough to fight back. And even when others try to convince us otherwise, I know now more than ever that I've been called to do this work, and that it is a call I will continue to answer with a resounding yes. Yet the work is not finished. As of this week, I'm halfway through law school and will be continuing my fight for civil rights for all people as a civil rights attorney upon graduating. Good for you. You go, girl. I end my reaffirming I am committed to fighting just as fervently for the rights of my future clients as I have for myself. This is quite literally the beginning, and I am eager to see what is to come. But as for now, this case is settled. Yeah, good for her. Endometriosis is painful. So yeah, it can be a disability. If you're in enough pain from anything, that can be a disability. So good for her. Well, I will be back tomorrow. Hope everybody has a good evening. I hope I have a good evening. I think I will. It's what, Wednesday? Oh, I gotta go and take the garbage can down to this corner because it is garbage day. It's also recycling day, but my husband does that part. You know, we each have our jobs. It's okay. All right, bye, my biddies. I will see you tomorrow. Have a lovely evening.